Good morning. Today is Thursday, the 7th day of Kislev. We continue in the Tanya in the fourth essay of the fifth book, Kuntres Acharon. And in the last few days, we were discussing the advantage and the virtue that we have by mitzvahs that require action. And we said a number of points why the mitzvahs that require action are in a way are greater than the other type of mitzvahs, greater than connecting to Hashem emotionally, because one would think that really where do you invest more? Where are you more deeply connected? Where you feel or you understand intellectually, but yet we say no, the mitzvahs that require action, the action is really has a higher place, it has a deeper connection. So we explained the number of points before. 2 points was the one that the mitzvahs that require action is fulfill the actual purpose of what we are here for, and that is to refine the godly sparks that are scattered in this world and to elevate them. And today the Alter Rebbe continues to tell us that there is yet a deeper point here. And to start with the point that we mentioned a number of times, a question: why does a person, in a way of need to eat physical food in order to survive? Meaning, we have in the world, we have the different categories of creatures, and it seems like we are sustained by something which is lower than us. You have the inanimate objects, you have the vegetations, you have animals, and you have humans. And the inanimate object sustains the vegetations, and the vegetation sustains the animals. Animals sustain humans, meaning that when you eat meat, you eat also vegetations. But you get something from something which is a lower level than you. And the reason we said is why? Because there is the spark of godliness. It says, Al Moitze Pi Hashem, the spark of godliness in the inanimate objects, and the same thing is in the vegetations. And that gives you the sustenance. But the question is, after all, the humans also has the spark of godliness. So why is that not enough? What is that to sustain us? Why do we need to get the spark of godliness from the lower levels? So he's going to explain here is that in the lower levels, there is even a higher spark of godliness, and the person, the neshama, is able to elevate those spark of godliness, which is higher than the neshama itself. So let's look inside. Says the Alter Rebbe, v'oid zois, in addition to the explanations that we learned yesterday about why the mitzvahs that require action are considered greater, it's a greater level to do the actual mitzvahs. In addition to that, he says, shebe'emes abirurim shebebriya yetzire asiya merapach al yedei Torah mitzvahs b'machshava dibur ma'aseh. Says, for the truth is that the purifications in Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya, those are the three lower worlds, of the 288 sparks of Torah, the spark of godliness that fell down, by means of Torah and mitzvahs, that man fulfills in thought, speech, and action, gvoim b'shorashon min nefesh ruach neshama sheba'adam. They are superior in their source to the nefesh ruach neshama of men that possess love and fear of God. And he's going to explain it in Kabbalistic terms. And he says, Kiheim misag shebepnimis adam kadmoin. Because they derive from the divine name Sag of the internal aspect of Adam Kadmon. Sag is a numerical value of 63. And 63, this is one of the names, one of the ways of the combinations of the letter Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey. The name of God, the Yud Ke Vav Ke. When you write them out, each letter, there's different ways of writing out the letter. So the Hey could be written Hey Aleph, or could be written Hey Hey, and could be written Hey Yud. And so the different combinations represent different levels. When it is in the combination of 63, this represents the light of the world of Tohu, the world of before the creation of the world, of this world, the world of Tikkun. There was the world of Tohu. World of Tohu means that there was a world with very high, intense light. And that caused, as we explained in the previous lessons, the Shviras HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels. So this name Sag of the internal aspect of Adam Kadmon, V'nefesh ruach neshama shekvar nitaknu al yedei ma hu yotze ma'ametzach ha'ore ba'alma. While the nefesh, ruach and neshama, different parts of the soul, that are already been corrected through the divine name Ma. Ma is 45, which is also another combination of the Yud Ke Vav Ke. So this name issues from the forehead of Adam Kadmon, being a mere reflection of it, but not of its essence. So what he's saying is, the godly energy that fell into the lower part of the creation, that it's rooted in a higher level, which is the Sag, the name Sag. V'zeu shekasuv lifnei melech melech chulu. Here, hence, it is written before a king ruled over the children of Israel. This comes from next week's Torah portion, Vayishlach. It talks about Eila Melachim. Those are the kings that ruled in Edom before there was ever a king for the Jewish people. That's the simple reading. But in the Kabbalistic readings, when we're talking about the kings ruling, it was talking about the spiritual kings, that the kings of Edom comes before, meaning it's in a higher level of the king of Israel, meaning that they have the roots of Esav, which is Edom, Esav Edom. This is in a much higher root than the roots of the neshama of a Jew. So, and in order to elevate, to get to these sparks, you have to have a neshama, which is a corrected neshama that comes from the tikkun, to be able to come down and to elevate those sparks and to reveal the roots of those levels. This is the reason why this is the reason. For this reason, man is sustained by food of the inorganic, vegetative, and living classes, and purifies them by the ma within him. Again, what is the ma? The ma is the godly energy that is already refined. And when you have this godly energy that is refined, you go down to, and you get the sustenance from the food that in it it has the roots of the food is in much higher level, and you are able now to elevate them. And it lives through them. Why lefishem is sag? Because they derive from sag, which is a higher form of godly energy. So that's another reason. He says that the same thing is also with the mitzvahs. When you do the mitzvah with a physical mitzvah, you're connecting to the higher godly parts of the godly energy that is in the lowest levels, which is in the physical things. Right? So furthermore, there is yet another reason as to why action-related mitzvahs are higher than the soul's love and fear of Hashem. He says, "K'moshe kasov, ufanai lo yirau," as it is written, my face, meaning my innermost dimension, my pnimius, as implied in the word panim. Panim means the inner part. This shall not be seen. He says this means that the inwardness of the truly higher degree cannot descend below in a revealed manner. But only the external aspect of the hand part, which are the noivleis, the withered vestige of the supreme wisdom. What does it mean? There is the exterior part of the chachma. That is what's going down. So the Alter Rebbe now is going to explain. There is yet a deeper level in understanding. What is it about the mitzvahs of action that has such a high place? And he's going to say that there's certain things that you can deliver, but it's only an external delivery. So to use an example, you have, let's say, a teacher delivers thoughts to a student. So what do you deliver? It's very, very deep, and you can get a lot of depth from the teacher. But do you deliver the very essence of the intellect? That is not delivered. That cannot be delivered. The only way to deliver the very essence is like a father delivers to a child, meaning that the very essence of the father becomes the child, to the point that the child can become even greater than the father. So even though the delivery of the physical birth seems to be a very physical thing that has nothing profound to it. When you deliver, you can work very hard for hours and hours on thinking and delivering a lecture. That takes a lot of effort and a lot of straining. But to the point that the student is able to receive the teachings of the teacher, and you can get a lot. But it doesn't matter how much you get. It's only an external part, a very external part of the teacher. Whereas when there is a birth, when there is a union between husband and wife, and there is a birth, and the child comes, then you have the very essence of the father goes into the child. And this is, he's going to explain, is also the difference between neshamas, the souls, and angels. He says there's two types of unions. There's the union of the neshama, and the neshama is created, that comes from the deeper union. And the angels are created from a union that he calls it the union of the spiritual kiss. And that is the union that brings about the love to Hashem, the fear of Hashem, but not the essence. So that's why the angels, obviously in the revealed part, in the revealed form, they are much, much greater than humans. Because in the revealed way, their sense of fear and awe of Hashem, their connection to God, is a much greater connection, a much deeper connection. And they go higher and higher from level to level. But in the same time, when an angel comes in the presence of a Jew, that level of the angels, the Alter Rebbe says, the angel is not able to stay in a room with the 10 Jews. Because the Kedusha comes from the Neshama, there's a root of the Neshama, even though we don't see it. Nevertheless, but the holiness, the union where the Neshama comes from a very essential union that brings about a much deeper level of the essence of Hashem. So let's continue inside. It says, furthermore, it says, the verbalizing any phrase of the supreme wisdom does not procreate. Imparting wisdom does not create any being ex nihilo. It doesn't create a new being. Ve'atipa, on the other hand, ve'atipa shenimshecha ma'akli dechachmei lo yesh bo koyach hamoilidu me'ave yesh ma'ayim. Whereas the drop drawn from the vessel of the supreme wisdom, like the drop derives from the Father's brain, has the power to procreate and bring about existence ex nihilo, something from nothing. A new being is being created. Also, a flow of the supreme wisdom and illumination, which is paralleled by a person's capacity for wisdom, is incorporated within it. And the reason being, because the reason is that into it there is drawn the essence and the nature of the supreme wisdom. This is not the case with thought and speech. Even in an intellectual conception in any field of wisdom. So that when you have this wisdom, and when you have whether thoughts and speech or even in the intellect, it is not bringing a new creation. It is only revealing the external part of the person. As the Alter Rebbe says, is that this wisdom is a mere reflection that extends from the essence of the intellect in the soul. And now this essence of the intellect in the soul is also a reflection of the intellect. Then too, this reflection is a mere garment for the very essence of the intellect. So you have the intellect, you have the seichel, you have the logical thought. That logical thought comes from the essence of the intellect. And the intellect is a garment and a reflection of the soul. The intellect, in turn, is but a reflection, a garment for the essence of the soul. Now compare this to birth. In birth, you have everything. Everything is given over. In contrast, there is also drawn into the drop something of the very essence of the soul, which is clothed within the brain. And therefore, hence, therefore it says, it begets offsprings precisely similar to itself, to the soul itself. Because what is given? The very essence. And that's the difference, as the Alter Rebbe, what we said earlier, the difference between the angels and the neshamas. This is the difference between the divine service of angels, which are born of a spiritual kiss. So their divine service is likewise a spiritual divine service. And that of the souls which issue from the vessels. Now the vessels that contain an element of the essence. And now but in the neshamas itself also is going to explain the souls that come from the vessels, which they contain an element of the essence, similar to the idea of the seminal drop, that is a physical thing, and contains the essence. But in the same time also, they become, there's different levels, different parts of the neshama. These vessels of Atzilus, they become a soul to the lower level, lower worlds, and they are divided into the two types of service of Hashem, which is the spiritual part, the fear and awe of Hashem, and the physical part, the actual doing the physical mitzvahs. That's what Alter Rebbe continues now. However, the vessels of Atzilus, they become the soul of Bria, Yetzira, and Asiyah. And from this soul animates two manners. This soul animates two manners of issue. Ve'ilkoch, the chilu rechimu sichlim em kemalochim de neshikin. Therefore, he says the intellectual love and awe are comparable to the angels that issue from the spiritual kiss. And that is me'aoras chitzonis the chochma bina das bebri yetzir asiyah, which they come from the irradiate from only from the external aspect of Chabad, chochma bina das, of the world of bria yetzir asiyah. So, although it derives from the vessels of Atzilus, it is still not the degree of the essence. Ve'atam, the reason is, from the pnimi is chochma bina das ma'usay ve'atzmusay shelo pnimi eina yochel leizgalois elo al yedei haoras hakelim hayodim lemata. He says the reason is because the innermost dimension of Chabad and the essential nature of the indwelling light, or panimi, this cannot be revealed except through the radiance of the vessels that descend below. What are the vessels that descend below? The actual mitzvah. Ketipas adam mimaychim, as does the seminal drop of man issuing from the brain, as it is written, my face, my innermost dimension, shall not be seen. So that is yet another reason. What the Alter Rebbe explains here, why the physical mitzvahs? What do we accomplish by the physical mitzvahs? What do you get? What is revealed in this world with the physical mitzvah? With the physical mitzvah, of connecting with the lowest part of this world, where it doesn't look very attractive compared to the spiritual meditation and feelings, but in the same time, it has the essence. It has the very, very essence of Hashem, and He's revealed in the physical part, that where it cannot be revealed in the intellectual way or in the emotional way, but it comes in the physical act of the mitzvah. And tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, this is the end of today's shir. Tomorrow, Alter Rebbe is going to continue to explain yet another aspect of this part of the physical mitzvah. So thank you for joining today. I know this was a little deep today. So if anybody has any questions to clarify, we can take now the questions.